Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Maggie and Ferocious Mondays. Today, we'll be reviewing our second to last episode and our last episode of Season 1 of Maggie and the Ferocious Beast. Season 1, Episode 13B, Happy Birthday to All of Us. In this episode, Maggie, Hamilton, and the Beast all share the same birthday. While at the party, the Beast worries his humble gifts of apples and seashells are not good enough, but Maggie and Hamilton are thrilled with his thoughtful presence. Now, this episode, I absolutely love this episode, and I also like how we get a bit of lore on when Hamilton and Beast ask why are all their birthdays on the same day. Maggie says that it's because we were all came came to my house on the same day, which could implicate that Maggie had Hamilton and Beast ever since she was a little baby, ever since she was born. So if that's the case, I like that. And I also like the little party setup. It's really nice. I like it, and the cake that Hamilton made, it looks so good. It looks like it looks like a classic chocolate cake, which is one of my favorite cake. I love chocolate cake. And I also like in Hamilton's shoes, though they do look funny, they do have a deeper meaning to it later on. And I like how we have two characters in this episode going through something. Hamilton with his shoes and the Beast with his presents, and the Beast is trying to stall because he's worried about his gifts. And I like how he mentions like all the classic party activities like pin the tail on the donkey, a classic. Obviously at first he says let's put on our party hats. um he um he then tries to recommend more party games like hide and seek or checkers, but but Maggie and Hamilton really want to open their gifts. And at first everything's going really well. Like Hamilton gives both Maggie and Beast some cookies of themselves. Beast gave Hamilton gave Beast Maggie cookies, and Hamilton gave Maggie Beast cookies, which is really adorable, which shows that he loves to cook. And Maggie's gifts are pretty self-centered to the characters. Like Maggie gives Hamilton a detective's hat, which will come into play next season. And also Maggie gives Beast a mirror, which is really cute. And he said, "Now I can practice being ferocious," which which is, I want to say, it's like a reference to a Beasley picture when he was looking himself in a mirror to try and fix Maggie's picture, which I really like that. And then what and then it was time for Beast's gift, but he was still kind of nervous about because he was afraid that he wasn't gonna like it. And I totally get where Beast is coming from. Like, you see other people give, like, you get when it's somebody else's birthday and you see other people give them like very big extravagant gifts, and then you start having self-doubting what you're gonna give that person, and you're like, maybe my gift isn't so special after all. But listen, what matters is this: it's the thought that counts. The gift doesn't have to be all big and extravagant. Sorry if you hear stuff in the background. It's my neighbors fixing something outdoors. It's the thought that counts. You may think that the person is expecting a big giant present from you, but really what they're expecting from you is just a gift from the heart, a gift that can remind you of them, that reminds them of you or each other. It doesn't have the size don't matter. Size does not matter. Remember that. And I also like how they even at the start when they said that to be we know that you're not really good at wrapping paper or tape, but he still had self-doubt, which I feel really sad for Beast. And I mentioned this when I started these reviews. I really like the episodes that talk about the characters whenever they have insecurities, because I feel like it's something we can all go through. And I feel like this lesson right here is definitely something that we have all went through at least once or twice in our lives, which I really do like that. And then we see the gifts. Maggie Beast, he gave Maggie a box of seashells, and he said, I was gonna try and make you a seashell necklace, but I couldn't. And he said that, and she said that she will, because she has all the seashells to do it herself. And even Hamilton, Beast just gave him some apples, but he even said, I was wondering if you could make a pie. And he said that he will, because all the apples he gave them look nice and ripe, not a scratch on them, which is really sweet. So, like I said, even Beast learned the lesson. It's the thought that counts. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be all perfect and stuff. What matters is that the present needs to come from the heart. That's the best present you can ever give someone. And then we have Hamilton, because throughout the episode he kept on tripping on his shoes, and even he finally had to come clean to Maggie on why he was wearing those, because why he was wearing his shoes, because obviously they were too big for his feet, and he kept on tripping. And then he exclaims that you've gone taller and I've stayed the same. And that's when Maggie said something I absolutely genuinely love, and we all have to take note of this. You may not have grown taller, but you've certainly grown wiser. And she reminds him of how just a few minutes ago he helped the beast make feel better about his presence. And she finally said, now take those crazy shoes off and let's have a party. And he finally ditched those shoes, which I do like the design of them, but they had to they had to come off sooner or later. They had to come off sooner or later, which I'm just like, if there was ever an episode I could just go, if I can just gush about these three's friendship, it's this one, because it's so sweet. It's so sweet. And just the cake scene at the end just made me happy. Hamilton and Maggie, they just get cut. They have normal slices of cake, but then when it was Beast time, when Hamilton exclaimed that the big slice of cake was his, he was just over the moon, because I'm pretty sure that's our dream, having a giant slice of birthday cake. More on cake later in the series. So, and they finally end the episode with saying happy birthday to all of us, which was just so sweet. And overall, this episode was absolutely amazing. It was really, really good. And it just, it really took the concept of a birthday episode and turned it into something really, really good, and basically gave us two lessons that in this episode that we can all learn from. It doesn't matter about what size a present has to be, as long as it comes from the heart. And with Hamilton's shoes, even though you haven't grown, even though you even though over the year you haven't think you've grown in size, you've grown wiser. You've grown wiser by knowledge, which is really sweet. And this episode just made me happy in general that these three are the best of friends, and just how happy I am that Maggie created this world for all of them, not just for her, but for all of them. And speaking of world and characters, oh, by the way, my rating, 10 out of 10. This episode was amazing. I loved it. I loved it. And speaking of world and characters, our next episode is going to have both of those things. And not just that, but it's going to be our last episode of this season, which I'm very, really excited for. I really am. So, with all that being said, tune in to me next time, as we'll be reviewing not just our last segment of episode 13, but our last segment of season 1. Season 1, episode 13C, The Really Big Show. See you all next time. Great googly moogly.